Welcome back. Welcome back. I'm MTG Joe. So today we're going to be playing a rig deck that was requested from a couple individuals. It is a Yarok post-rotation deck. So this is a deck that contains cards that will all be available after rotation. So we've done this with a few decks already. So one thing to keep in mind is all these decks are intended to just see what kind of archetypes or shells can still be viable post-rotation. At no point during it do we claim that these will be tier 1 decks or that we know what the meta will look like. We're still missing about 20% of the cards. But really it's just to kind of take a look. If you're a newer player and you only have cards from the most recent set, you're obviously not going to want to spend cards that rotate in a month. So this is a way, if you like certain archetypes, to kind of be comfortable with spending some cards perhaps that would kind of coincide with this. So the deck itself is kind of a mashup between a couple decks. So it's basically a Sultai or blue-white, blue-green-black deck. So Yarok is the main card that allows us to double up our ETB effects. So those are enter the battlefield. So Yarok over here. So if a permanent enters the battlefield, you get 2 copies of that permanent effect. So this also triggers if lands come into play for Field of the Dead. So Field of the Dead, you've probably seen a lot of it in all the various Scapeshift decks. So this is effectively a deck that's looking to ramp, play out Field of the Deads, a little bit more fairway than Scapeshift, and then get a bunch of extra value from it. So in terms of the ramp, we have Arboreal Grazer that can put an extra land into play. We have Leafkin Druid, which is both an elemental to trigger, but also add 1 to 2 mana depending on our board state. If we're getting a lot of zombies, it's easy for us to kind of get that there. Legion's End is for somewhat the mirror match, getting rid of their zombies allows us to attack in. Assassin's Trophy is catch-all removal, useful card in the format. Neoform is a way for us to... Actually, we need a 4-drop. So Neoform might not be the best card in this deck. I've just realized looking at our curve, we don't really have anything to go from 3 to 4 to Yarok. So that's probably not the best card to have. Actually, what we might play... Golgari Finebroker is a way for us to get back a permanent. So perhaps we go down... I think we're at 30 lands. Yeah, we could go down a land. Let's go down a Dismal Backwater. Okay, so that makes Neoform a little bit better. So basically what we want to do here is get a Yarok out as quick as possible. Neoform lets us do that by effectively sacking and getting a card with converted mana cost 1 or more. Can also turn a 2-drop if we need it into a Risen Reef. So we'll see. This card might be a little niche in this deck, so we'll see how it goes. Hydroid Krasis is a way for us to refill our hand. Risen Reef is the engine that gets a lot of these elemental synergies going. Basically accelerates, gives us card advantage or ramp. There's a chance we self-mill ourselves or draw out our deck, so that's why we have Jace, Wielder of Mysteries, to win through that way. Golgari Finebroker can get back Jace if it gets milled. Tamiyo can get back Jace if it gets milled. So some good lines there to kind of recycle. Cavalier of Thorns is another way for us to ramp. And then Yarok, the Desecrated, is kind of the engine. So the mana base itself, a whole bunch of different one-of lands, multiple lands and breeding pools, temples, the utility ones. I'm going with 2 blast zones as kind of our sweeper effect, and 4 Field of the Deads. In terms of the sideboard, we have some numbers of disfigures for the early matchups. We have Veil of Summer versus like the blue-black control style Esper decks. Another Legion's End, Noxious Grasp versus green and white stuff to fairies. Ego versus combo, or just getting rid of Scape Shift, for example. Shifting Ceratops versus blue-based decks, and one of Agent. I can steal opponent's Field of the Deads. If it's like a bigger deck, we can take some of their key stuff, and getting to 7 mana in our deck is not unreasonable. So we'll play it in a couple ranked games like we usually do. Before we get started, I'm live on Twitch right now, but if you miss any part of my gameplay, you can always tune in afterwards on my YouTube channel, MTG_Joe. If you're stopping by either or, if you can drop a sub on YouTube or a follow on Twitch, both are free and easy ways to support the channel. Finally, if you are planning on buying any cards for your upcoming Standard Rotation, Commander 19, or any cards in general, if you are planning to buy through TCG Player, I do have an affiliate link in the video description down below. If you click and follow that link, do your normal purchase. It's a free and easy way to just let them know that I sent you there. It helps support the channel. So let's get started. Yarok Fields. So this is probably like the last of the rotation-proof decks I'll do for the time being. I've been playing some more off-meta decks, and then just kind of fun brews for the time being. So I'll probably just stick with that for the time, unless there's anything that I've kind of missed that you're still interested in. We'll play first here. I'm gonna mulligan this hand, it's a bit slow. Okay, I'll probably keep this hand. Put away a breeding pool. We're playing 30 lands, so there is a chance we just draw hands with large amounts of lands. I don't want any more right now. And so this is mono blue. Will be a bit trickier of a matchup to resolve our creatures. So hopefully they don't have the Obsession draw. I feel more comfortable if we could get Risen Reef down next turn. Hopefully no Wizard's Retort. They got it. Next turn we could Find Broker, try to get back Risen Reef. Okay, so they do have Obsession. So this is likely one of the games that mono blue just beats us down. We don't have an answer to their early threat. Okay, so we do get it back. That's not how it works, but I think they might have just want the extra 2 power in play. Probably going to be too slow this game. Yeah, with Dijin. They hit us for 6 in the air next turn. I'm going to hold off showing Field of the Dead right now. Thing is, even Legion's End. We need Cavalier. Yeah, we're dead. I don't want to show them anymore. At this point, all they've seen is 2 cards out of our deck and Sultai Mana Base. So in this matchup, Ceratops is an MVP, Veil of Summer is good, Disfigures, and Legion's End. Coming out, probably the Jace, the Tamiyos. They get hit by Spell Pierce. Neoform could come out as well. Probably go down the Assassin's Trophy. I don't want to really ramp them. and maybe just get... Fine Broker was fine there, but I don't think it's that good. Let's run it back like that. So we didn't have like an early ramp drop, so it made it a little worse to actually be able to get our threats out ahead of curve. Like we want to have ideally, if possible, a turn 2 Risen Reef and then go off that. Okay, so just waiting for this to start. The lack of audio is really awkward in these kind of cutaways. I'll keep this hand. Temple of Malady, we can drop down Arboreal and then get a quick Ceratops out. This should also help us set up our draws, and then Blast Zone's a good way to answer their board state. I think we just want more action. Like I'm likely gonna draw more lands naturally. So here we can Grazer. It's fine. Spectral Sailor, I'll get blocked. And I'm just gonna put the field down. So next turn we can untap and Ceratops. And then they should have a hard time dealing with that. So they can have Aether Gust on the stack, but that takes their whole turn. Yeah, opponent can't beat a turn 3 Ceratops. So cool, let's run that back. Do exactly the same thing. And this is the thing, like Mono Blue usually will have the advantage game 1, but there's so many hosers now that just, like Ceratops alone just crushes that deck. How are we doing today, chat? So if you just joined in, this deck contains all cards that will survive the upcoming rotation. So if you're a newer player, don't want to craft on like Ixalan, or for example, if you wanted to build like a Scapeshift style deck but didn't want to waste the 4 mythic wild cards on Scapeshift, this is an alternative. I'll probably come back later today with a 5-color Golos Field of the Dead deck. So I've already played the rotation proof one. I'm going to play one that's just including all the cards on standard right now. Field of the Dead is one of my favorite cards right now. I do play Scapeshift, so I could play the unfair version, but sometimes, you know, going fair doesn't hurt. So this is a little bit of an iffy hand. We do have the Grazer, but we don't have black mana, and we're not guaranteed getting the Ceratops down. I still think we keep it. We have a draw and a scry, and Grazer does a good job. Blast Zone, probably just keep Blast Zone. It's a guaranteed land drop. Plus it gets rid of all their 1-drops. Obviously missing some black mana. See if they have the essence capture. So it slows us down a turn. Well, against this deck, we just gotta throw out our spells. Okay. Ah, that resolved. Okay, so not a land, but at least it took a card off the top of our deck, which does help. So they can start poking in for 1. They do have Obsession. So Grazer is sweet. So we have a couple options here. We can Hydroid Krasis for 2. That can get countered. The Legion's End can get countered. Gets rid of the Sailor. I think we just go the most pressure route possible. Yeah. Opponent just can't beat that. Sweet. 1-0 with the deck. Let's run it back. I hate getting the stupid quest. All I'm playing is like ramp decks now. Or like go wide decks. I don't kill creatures. I have my creatures get killed. Or as soon as you play that, all you do is end up running into Esper mirrors. Alright, so took down Mono Blue, shifting Ceratops MVP in that matchup. We'll keep this hand. Tamiyo could help us dig for Yarok. This could be the mirror, or Scapeshift mirror. And we got our other land, which is great. Just drop field. Yeah, so this is Scapeshift, or... usually don't see the elf in Scapeshift. So I'm going to go Tamiyo uptick for probably Yarok. Okay, so they just do Krasis. Baby Krasis. The enter's tapped, so it doesn't really help in this case. I think we just get Tamiyo going.
I am Tamiyo. It is an honor. I think you will find my notes helpful.
Okay, so bunch of junk on the top. We can Neoform, but it's really only for Leafkin Druid, so it doesn't do much. Fine Broker doesn't really get us back anything right now. I think we just Yarok for maybe even Risen Reef. Oh, Lotus Field. So we'll see if they don't poke in. Cavalier, we're actually short of green mana. Let's go Risen Reef. Okay, so we did get the Risen Reef. We're missing an Assassin's Trophy. Honestly, let's get rid of Hydroid Krasis. See if they have any more in hands. Okay, so it's a Banefire mana ramp deck with Voracious Hydra. Good to know. So what I'll likely do next, they could Lightning Strike the Risen Reef. They can also Voracious Hydra fight it. So they do have some options open to them. Is this when you enter is about, yeah. So we can just get back the Risen Reef, or we can play a Yarok. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This could enter in with 5, so it can fight the Yarok. So maybe we just go... get back the Risen Reef here.
The storied past holds our future.
Cast it again. And then just pass turn. If they don't kill it, we can Cavalier of Thorns. Basically want them to try to spend all their fight stuff on the Risen Reef. Okay, so they do have Omnath. They have 2 elementals, so they can...
You could use some manners.
I guess they could Lightning Strike Tamiyo, but if they're going to waste all their resources, I'm fine with that. Makes that bigger.
More data will be needed.
So, our hand's a little awkward. But they did tap out, so we get the Cavalier of Thorns turn. Do we go Yarok, force them to... No, let's go Cavalier this turn. I don't want Neoform. I want to find another land to hopefully trigger Field of the Dead. We got some duplicates, so it's not as effective. Island's fine. We'll keep that on top. Just pass turn. Assassin's Trophy unfortunately can't target Lotus Field, otherwise that would have been great. They're making a big boy Risen Reef. This matchup should be a lot better post-board. They go Voracious. Double up or fight? Okay, so they just double. So here we can Tamiyo. I'm gonna cast Tamiyo.
I would like to ask about any...
Gonna get back the Legion's End. Just because we're dead to
The past is
Voracious Hydra otherwise. And then probably just go Arboreal Grazer here. Just as a blocker. Pass turn. So so we got Dimir Guildgate. They're holding the Banefire in hand. So let's just go for another Risen Reef. I actually screwed that up. I should have waited. Because we would have had Yarok to double. So we can gain some life because right now they have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we have 9s. That's X7. Let's just refill our hand, gain some life. We'll just attack in like that. So they want to double block, they can. But I'm happy to get any of these off the field. And we got another Field of the Dead. So we can Yarok, Field of the Dead, and then and then play a Cavalier. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, that should allow us to do both. And we have the green mana to do both. So that should be a lot of triggers next turn. Okay, so they have the mass manipulation. A little unfortunate, but we should probably still be okay. Okay, so they are playing Blood Sun. Good to know for future turns. Okay. So our plan changes a little. Okay, Legion's End helps us out here. So we Field of the Dead. Gonna get rid of their it's technically our Krasis. And then I'll go to attacks. They're just free blocks for them right now. So let's see if they want to protect Tamiyo. Okay, so it does take another blocker out of the way. Get double trigger, so get 2 more or 8 more zombies. So we don't necessarily combo out, but we can put a lot of power. We're at 19 cards in library, so we do need to be mindful.
To the library.
Okay, so they also have Chandra, so we're getting some information on our opponent's deck. Let's see what the opponent's got up their sleeve. So next turn, probably attack with everything at the opponent. Probably gonna hold, because they have Chandra, it kind of wrecks us. So I'll probably hold the land. We have enough power on board right now. because I'm not going to attack Tamiyo. That means it's not a Banefire hitting us. So, we'll throw everything at the opponent. They're basically dead here. It's 24 damage. Got him. So basically this deck's trying to use Blood Sun to get the advantage of Lotus Field. So in this matchup, Agent of Treachery is probably good. This is kind of a combo deck. So what did we see? Mass Manipulation on their side field. They do have Chandra, which is a way to deal with Ceratops. They have Voracious Hydra. It's probably the Noxious Grasp in place of the Legion's End. Jace is probably reasonable here because we came close. Actually, I really haven't liked Neoform. We should probably cut that. Fine Broker's okay, can get back our stuff, but probably just want... Can give us Hexproof. Do we want it for the early drops? Maybe just this. It's another way. Or let's keep... Because they showed Chandra. And Assassin's Trophy could get rid of Blood Sun as well. 59 cards. Just go like that. I don't think Unmoored Ego is reasonable enough here. Like, we can get their Banefires. That's probably the only way they beat us. Like outside of just attacking. We don't have blue mana. We do get a little ahead, but we're on a draw too. Let's keep it. We'll just scry, try to find some blue. Okay, so we have the blue mana. So we can Legion's End their elf. Slow them down a bit. Keep Field of the Dead. Guess this has more upside. Okay, so Immortal Sun's not the best against us. They do have 2 Chandras, but they have no plays for the next couple turns. So we'll just set a Field of the Dead and pass turn. So they're mana away from Cavalier of Thorns, which should, in theory, get them to Chandra. Hopefully they whiff here. Okay, so they do hit it. We can steal their Chandra, which will be nice. So here... Probably just drop the Tomb. Blast Zone will start getting us some value. Okay, so they hit Mass Manipulation. So Chandra will wreck us next turn. So here I want to probably get enough counters to get that, so we'll just block this turn. Our Leafkin will still be able to block the Cavalier. A little awkward that we don't have the other blue mana to steal with Agent of Treachery.
I'm Chandra, the immolation sensation.
Obviously, if we draw a blue source, stealing their Chandra would be really good.
Let's get toasty.
So how many can we pop on this? 1, 2, 3, 4. So we can get this up to 5 counters. So a little awkward because we can't. So let's just get rid of Cavalier here. They can put back the mass manipulation, which they do. $41 cards, so X plus 3. This is why I like Blast Zone. It's a flexible card for us. Okay, so we got the Backwater. So here, I'm just going to attack in. They're likely going to steal our Risen Reef, so they don't want it dead.
I'm reaching my boiling point.
Obviously, a Hydroid Krasis, something like that to refill our hand would be good.
Hope it's not too hot for you.
Mortal Sun's a little awkward. Like, we only showed Tamiyo, so to bring that in against us doesn't make the most sense. So we want to put 2 counters on this. Usually helps us. So we take some damage. Obviously, the longer the game goes, Chandra's uptick is going to be impactful. Oh, so they opted to not do that. So do we agent? Take theirs, make some zombies. Then just chip in. So they can obviously play another Chandra. But we'll try to win this race now. Our creatures are a little bit better geared to attacking. Cavalier should also find us some more action. And then in a pinch we can always pop this off. Our Chandra can also shoot down their Chandra.
Anyone who stands in my way is getting sizzled.
See if, okay, so they don't.
Hope it's not too hot for you.
So we're taking 3 damage a turn. Hydroid Krasis is great, but I think this turn what we do... Sacrifice the Blast Zone.
You're gonna be sorry when I come back.
Attack in with our zombies. And then just drop Cavalier. Hydroid Krasis will gain us the life. Just get another breeding pool. So we're in a pretty good spot. Hydroid Krasis can gain us 4 life next turn. And they have Omnath. So they refilled their hand pretty nicely. They do dump a Hydroid Krasis, which is pretty beneficial for us. $29 cards. Their board state makes our attacking a little worse. Don't really have anything useful if we kind of force the Cavalier to attack. Yeah, at this point, just jamming up the board. It's actually pretty solid for us because now we can do X equals 8. Literal nothing but lands. So we're going to hold back. Obviously we take a bit more damage. And at this point we're dead to Banefire if they have it. Okay, so they had the Banefire. Can't really do much against that. Maybe we bring in the Egos. Noxious Grasps, okay for the Mirror Breaker. Since they brought in the Mortal Sun, just get rid of these. Probably just that. Could name Chandra. Doesn't really do much. Or actually Banefire is probably worse. Yeah, let's try it like this. We're not really going to beat... Let's see what we got. This hand's a little bit slower. We do have some interaction early. I think we got a mulligan though. Okay, this hand's a lot better. So I'm gonna put the swamp back. Gonna shock Arboreal Grazer on 1, play Temple of Mystery to set up our scry, and then we have Assassin's Trophy if need be. Probably okay with lands at this point. Like, our deck's not gonna pressure quickly, and then that gets us to Yarok quicker. Just pass turn. If anything reasonable comes out, we can just Assassin's Trophy it. I wonder if we Assassin's Trophy our own Arboreal Grazer just to get this out. But it doesn't. We can't get it out next turn anyways, so let's hold off a turn. Ooh, and Agent of Treachery to follow up. Okay, so we're probably going to Assassin's Trophy this. Play Yarok out next turn, guaranteed. And then hopefully get an Agent of Treachery going. So they get Omnath. This is an interesting consideration because Omnath can get quite large. Probably have to take that out. It's one of those matchups where Assassin's Trophy isn't great because we're giving our opponents land. Hoping for an untapped. Realistically, probably at this point, so we can start stealing stuff with Agent, take their lands. Like if we could keep them off red mana. Mind you, if they drop Chandra this turn, we're in trouble. So they get the Elemental. So in a way it was kind of good that we took Omnath off. So we're live draw for quite a few of our creatures now. Okay, so that turns off a lot. Ooh, so we can steal their Lotus Field because it doesn't have hexproof anymore. But they're going off pretty hard. This is a sweet deck. 38 cards. This is literally the worst draw we could have. Well, I think we kind of fizzled out this game. They're going to hit us for 10. They have near infinite mana. Okay, so Krasis for 4. Here, I'm not going to block, so I might as well gain 3 life. So next turn, if we do get the Agent down, steal both their Cavaliers. They have the Mass Manipulation. A little too late. If we had it, we could have taken both, but now we can only take one, and we're just too far behind at this point. So close one there. We saw the good and the bad of the deck. So I'm going to wrap it up now. It's about 50 minutes of gameplay on it. Come back later with another deck. Let's crack some packs, see what we got. Okay, another Temple. So yeah, that's pretty much the deck. It is a rotation proof deck, so if it's something you're interested in, playing some Field of Dead, it's pretty fun overall. Get rid of the Neoforms, I think. They weren't that good. Anyways, thanks as always for tuning in live. And if you missed any part of it, you can catch it all up on my YouTube later today. Thanks for watching and have a great one.